And I request over team to start the presentation. And once again, thank you all. Please keep your mics on mute. Sir, I request Achal sir and GM Kova to start their presentation.
Yes. Good morning, everybody, all the senior officers who are present. Now we are having about 200 officials participating in this meeting, and we are glad to. Am I audible, madam?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. So I'm glad and I welcome everybody. It's a privilege to be able to present features of ocean orders. Can we mute everybody, ma'am? Because otherwise it will be difficult. So we will be focusing this meeting on the usage of caution orders generated from the systems COA and ICMS as against the present practice of manual generation of caution orders. So this control office application has been in operation for about 12 years now, and it is working smoothly across all divisions, all area control offices. But the caution order module has not been able to pick up. Over the last 2 years, also we have seen that a lot of issues were reported by divisions, zonal railways. We got the feedback from CRIS regional offices, as well as we were getting feedback directly from divisions and the COFIS office, which is the nodal office for the control office application. We have tried to include all the suggestions, recommendations that we have received, and now the caution order module is quite user friendly. As we will see through the presentation, I have a brief presentation. Most of the divisions are feeding the caution order data in control office application also. But there are still some issues which need further refinement for further proliferation and mass acceptance of this functionality. Similar to the COA application, which is now being used and there is no paper required in control offices, same we can achieve for caution orders also, that there should not be any specific data entry exclusively only for caution orders. Whatever is fed into COA, that must be accepted and that must be reliable. But for that, we will need your help and support. Together, we can further refine it. Although it is functioning and all the divisions are feeding the data, but still, since the caution orders are a sensitive issue, there are some issues which we will be discussing through this presentation. This is the status of integrations. At present, control office application is integrated with multiple applications. The objective of showing it that this slide is that the control office application is not working in isolation. We are having multiple integrations now. We have data loggers integrated at about 550 locations. Most of the train terminating stations, interchange stations, train originating stations are now covered. We have integration of COA with real-time train information system that we call RTIS. 700 locos are fitted with RTIS devices and their data GPS updates are getting updated in COA. Another 6,000 locos will also get RTIS devices in next about 2 years. That work has started. Remload locos, which were previously the devices were used for monitoring of loco health. 2,300 such locomotive data also we are getting. Most of them are diesel locos, but some are electric also. Freight operations information system is also integrated. We share the train profile details with FOIS, and the train movement data is shared from COA to FOIS. NTS is also getting feed from COA, and similarly ICMS is integrated, and through ICMS is also integrated for And recently we have integrated crew management system also with COA, and now the details are also visible in the control charts. So this is the perspective in which now we are working, that COA is not working in an isolation, it is an integrated applications, and all applications are now sharing data among themselves. This is the slide which shows the quotient order data of COA. The data is of 22nd of February, day before yesterday. And you can see that the divisions are feeding data extensively. We have Banaras 332 quotient orders, Agra 405 quotient orders, Danapur 301 quotient orders. So Dhanbad 59. So we can see that divisions are using this quotient module for feeding the quotients, but this effort of feeding the quotients remains only half successful, because this data is used for forecasting in the COA, but it is not getting used for train running operations, as these printouts are not getting distributed. But what are the issues we will discuss, and we will sort out all the issues with your cooperation. So this is the data. These are of all the divisions. So every division is feeding. We can see that none of the division is zero. And we have compared this data with field also. There are some discrepancies, but it is close to completion, but not complete. So that small gap, maybe 5%, 2%, 10%, depending from division to division, that we need to cover. And then this application will become more reliable, and then we can completely switch over to the system generated quotient orders. So these are all the divisions that we have covered, entire network, and all the divisions we can see are feeding the quotient orders. In control office application, like any other application, we have several modules. So we will only be focusing on the quotient order module. The quotient order module is a part of the asset maintenance module. So there are 3 formats that I will be sharing with you. There have been some concerns regarding these formats also, but I believe that with more and more uses, the users will become more accustomed to using these. Quotient orders, we have 3 formats. One is for imposing a quotient order in one particular block section or multiple block sections. In this window top right, you can see that there are 3 radio buttons. One is for section, one is for block section, one is for station. Section is for end-to-end quotient order. If an entire section a quotient is to be imposed, then the user needs to select this first radio button. If there are 1 or 2 block sections or 3 block sections to be chosen, then this block section radio button has to be selected, and if quotient is to be imposed at a particular station, only station section, then this radio button has to be chosen. After this has been chosen, then the subsection will automatically come, and from this subsection one has to choose this temporary. Normally we will be imposing temporary, whether it is permanent or emergency. So this can be done within seconds. It doesn't require much time. And then when line has to be chosen, whether it is both up and down or both, and then the particular block section. Once we have chosen a subsection, and out of that some block section, all the block sections will come in the drop down. This block section has to be chosen. And if the quotient is to be imposed in more than one block section, then here in this box only, more than one block section can also be chosen by just clicking them. So one can choose 1, 2, 3, as many block sections as required. And then the kilometer has to be given, or OHE mast has to be given, and that kilometer or OHE mast number has to be typed here. And then it is matched with the database, whatever is data is available in the database. In case there is a discrepancy between the kilometers given here and the distances given in the database, then it will not accept. Or alternatively, if there is nothing in the database, then system will accept, because then there will be no validation failure. And then loaded or empty, and applicable to both, whether goods or passenger. So all the fields which are marked by a star, they are mandatory fields, and those fields have to be filled up. And imposition time, at what time it has been imposed, and the message number and authority. So you can see that the entire information that is required to be given, it can be given in less than 1 minute. And the users who are used to a particular block control board, those section controllers become used to it, and it is not as cumbersome as sometimes made out to be. So, and if there are any further suggestions, we can incorporate every suggestion which will be coming to us. We will definitely incorporate those suggestions in the question order module. This is another form. If the question is to be imposed in a station section, then this is slightly different. A subsection has to be chosen, then all the same things, whether it is a planned emergency or a station, whether it is to be imposed on up and down line. And if there are multiple lines, those will be displayed here as per the database, whatever data is kept in the COA. And that particular line or multiple lines have to be selected. And then the kilometerage has to be given if it is available. And then again, the same fields are there, whether loaded, empty, applicable to both goods, passenger, if only goods or only passengers, or imposition time. So this is the only information required. So it is appears to be user friendly to us, but what is the experience of users, they only can tell, so that we can make further refinements and further improve the system. This is also a variant of station. If a portion is to be imposed at a station, then there is an option of choosing previous and next station, so that ordering while printing a question order can be arranged by the software. That's why we take this additional field. When a question is to be imposed at a station, then previous and next station of that station have to be chosen. That previous next station combination is given here. And if it is an interchange point, then this interchange station tab will become activated. It has to be clicked, and then accordingly the concerned checkbox has to be checked. And the rest of the information is same: the speed, the distances, the kilometers, and the reason. If it is not available in the drop down, then reason can be given if it is others reason. This is that for entire section. If a question has to be imposed, then this screen is there. It is similar to that one block section or entire section. Only thing is that in the entire section, all the block sections will be automatically selected. And when we go by block section wise block section, then we have to select a specific block section. We have been receiving concerns from divisions, zonal railways, UFI's office also, that why this is not becoming popular. Some of the general issues stated are that this is not user friendly, it is cumbersome, but as we have seen, there is not much information required. It is only a question of practice. If we do not give information to the system, it cannot generate any output. So the output depends upon the input. But the input should be user friendly, and most of the information is only drop down list is there, and most of the information to be fed is through the clicking of the mouse only. And in some cases, there may be requirement of giving the station's code if that is not visible. So it is not that cumbersome as it is sometimes made out to be by some of the users. But still, if there are any suggestions, if they are doable, we will certainly do that. I have jotted down some of the points. One of the major issues is the discrepancy in COA ICMS integration. Mismatch of data is there. That we have also checked, that there is some mismatch, and action has to be taken by Chris. That we will do. There should not be any instance of any mismatch between the COA and ICMS. If any caution has been imposed in COA, it must reflect in ICMS. And if any caution has been cancelled, it must get cancelled in ICMS. We are printing cautions through ICMS because COA is when it was architected, it was a distributed application and it is LAN based. That means that distributed means the servers of COA are located in all the divisions, and LAN based means it is a local area network based, means the application is not accessible from outside the divisional control office. So that's why the data is being passed on to ICMS. But technically that is not an issue. As I began with the first slide, the integrations are now seamless, and we have advanced technology for integration and sharing of data. So we will go through the discrepancies division by division, and we will rectify all the mismatch of data. So that issue we will address shortly. Another issue is the delay reported. Sometimes it is reported that a question was imposed or cancelled in COA, but it did not get updated in ICMS immediately. It took time. So that can happen when there are any network issues. Yesterday also we had a major breakdown of FOS network over 30 divisions of South Central Railway, Southern Railway, and it was for 1 hour 30 minutes. So since the COA data travels on FOS network, and if there is a down of network of 30 divisions for 1 hour 30 minutes, no data will travel. So then in such scenario, discrepancy is technical, and network failures are not uncommon. Such mass failures are not common, but every day some divisional networks fluctuate or they completely go down for half an hour or 1 hour. And during that period, data latency is unavoidable. But other than that, there should not be any data latency that our teams will definitely sort out. One support we require from divisions is that incomplete data feeding should be avoided. We have found that whereas some divisions are doing complete data feeding, some are doing only partial data feeding. So if a division has to give a question across divisions, interdivisional questions, suppose a train is to go from Ghaziabad to say Agra or Tundla, Kanpur, then Delhi division will not be able to give question orders unless the data is fed by the adjoining divisions beyond the interchange point. So it is critical that all the divisions feed complete data, so that if a division is wanting to issue a question order across the divisional geographical territory, that can become feasible. And one point, again, we require division support, that users need to feed correct data. If data is fed wrongly, then the questions will also be generated wrongly. And that is why we try to keep validations of data. If some base data has been fed in the data of COA, we try to check the data being fed by the section controller against that base data. But to be successful, it is essential that the base data is also updated from time to time, and the data fed by the section controller is also correct. Then only there will be complete accuracy. So divisions need to look into it, that as soon as there are any changes in the geography, any new stations added, any new infrastructure comes up, that must be updated in the COA also. Then only we will be able to generate correct question orders. One of the issues in which we will be requiring support from COO Systems Office, being the nodal office of the control office application, that we have observed that from zone to zone there are variations in requirements, variations in the formats which they want. So we need a standardization, and zonal railways will also have to cooperate, that they need to accept a uniform system, because software is uniform. It can't be tweaked for one zone to another zone or one zone to another division. So in order to achieve standardization, the zonal railways will also have to cooperate and support that a standard format as devised by CO Systems Office, that should be accepted by all. It may require user training. Users may have to be educated about the revised formats, but then only can the adoption increase. And one of the issues we have observed is the user awareness of functionalities. The features that are available in the application, some users are not aware. That's why they feel that the application is not able to give the output that they want to get. So if any user feels that they need further training, then CRIS has 5 regional offices, and all of the regional offices are in constant touch with the divisions. So they can approach any of the CRIS regional offices in their jurisdiction, and training will be organized. So we can organize online training, as well as if they want to come over to the CRIS office, then also in-person training can also be organized. So from control office application side, this is the broad overview, and this is the presentation. So now I will be requesting ICMS team to kindly continue with the presentation.
Good morning. Can we raise certain issue which had been raised earlier but which has not been resolved yet?
Host can tell, questions have to be taken now or afterwards?
Sir, it's up to you if you want anything regarding what sir has said right now. And if sir has completed, you can take the call and you can ask the queries which GM Kova can answer. If it is a general query which you have to say after all the things. Yes, sir?
अभी हमारी तरफ से जो हम लोगों को प्रॉब्लम हो रही है वो हम लोग कुछ रेज कर सकते हैं क्या?
सर कोई मुझे कॉल कर रहे हैं.
Lakshmi, can you hear me? Lakshmi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
I am CEO System.
Yes, sir.
First, let ICMS team finish the presentation, and then you open the thing for questions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For the time being, kindly mute everybody. And let the board be present. And everybody else in their own language should be put on mute.
Right, sir. Sir, I'm
लक्ष्मी हम लोग कुछ
बताना
चाह रहे थे, आपको आवाज आ रही है क्या?
आ रही है. आपका हमें आवाज आ रही है.
हाँ, तो
आप रेज करके रखिए हैंड.
कुछ पॉइंट डाले थे, पॉइंट अभी भी रिजॉल्व नहीं हुए हैं. ये पॉइंट 2 साल पहले तकरीबन लिखे गए थे. तो मैं फिर से रिट्रेट करता हूँ यहाँ की सारे लोग समझ सके कौन सी ऐसी पॉइंट है क्या समझ.
सर सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट. जीएम डब्ल्यूआर बोल रहे हैं ना? हेलो.
नहीं, मैं सीपीटीएम वेस्टर्न से बोल रहा हूँ.
अच्छा सर, प्लीज आप थोड़ी देर वेट कर लीजिए. we'll finish the presentation, then you can keep your hands raised. I'll call you one by one. You can raise the issues so that it will be correctly addressed. Right, sir? Sir, please continue.
नहीं, वो तो हो गया, प्रेजेंटेशन हो गया. अच्छा.
I request Ravi from my team, Ravindra, Senior Project Engineer, to present ICMS part now. Ravindra?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So before starting, I request all of you to watch your mics because by mistake you are switching it on. Please keep it switched off. It is difficult to manage if you just keep on switching it on. Keep your mouse away from your mute button so that maybe you are not by mistake unmuting the thing. So keep your mics off, please. Request.
Ma'am, is my screen visible? Good morning to all of you. Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Thank you. So before starting the presentation, first we are discussing the question order flow diagram, what it is happening at present. As we know that all the questions are imposed in control office application. As soon as question is imposed in control office application, so imposition happens on the divisional server. Then data flow from divisional server to Kova central server. As soon as data from all the divisions aggregate into the Kova central server, it hit the ICMS load balancer. So ICMS is getting data from Kova central server. Finally, there is MIS in place where user select the proper options and print the printable format of question order and issue to the guard and driver. So this is the flow diagram at present. Now this slide shows the notice stations defined in ICMS at present. So figures presented zone wise. So total there are 601 notice stations defined in ICMS, where maximum number pertains to Northern Railway, where 99 notice stations defined by Northern. So we don't know that the number of notice stations are exactly 601 or more than this. Then if so, then user have to define those notice stations in the system, in the utility provided, that we will demonstrate after covering these slides. Now this slide represents the question order uses of ICMS system where notice station printing more than 50% questions with respect to total number of passenger services. So here we identified that one station, Badarpur Junction in Lamding division, printing 100% question orders through ICMS system. So it is really motivational. So other station like Muradabad printing 93%, Lucknow station printing 85%. So these top 18 stations, where most of the stations belongs to Northern Railway, and Northern Railway picked up very fast in the last few weeks, and their question usage increased drastically in the last few weeks. Now this is the summary sheet of question module uses where we compared two date ranges from 1st Feb to 22nd Feb and from 1st Feb to 17th Feb this year. So as we know that total number of notice stations defined are 601 and total number of question printed, total number of notice stations used IT system are 230 in the date range 1 to 22nd Feb, and from 1 to 17 Feb it was only 193. So there is an increase of 37 stations in these 5 days. So percentage of such notice stations with respect to total number of notice stations defined is 38% up to 22nd Feb. When we calculate the percentage uses with respect to total number of train services and total number of questions issued from system, we find that the percentage uses in the month up to 22nd Feb is 9.40%. But this 9.40% depicting only 230 stations performance. Other remaining 471 stations are not contributing in this percentage. So the usage percentage is slightly low. Now as and when we come across the various issues where we categorize the issues into major, minor and format related issues. So there are basically 6 major issues we came across in the past. Number 1 is non-reflection, non-removal of question orders in ICMS. So the same as mentioned by GM Control Office application, that we have examined the data of 22nd Feb. All the questions reported on 22nd Feb imposed in Control Office application, then the same verified in ICMS. So after verification, we noticed that number of 587 total number of questions imposed fresh on the date of 22nd Feb in Control Office application, including all divisions. The same number of questions received in ICMS. So both the figures matched. Same way, the verification of total number of questions closed in Control Office application and total number of questions closed in ICMS, both the figures also matched. So however, the exercise was made only for the one day to cover the presentation part, but the same will be extended for the past days and the same will be monitored for further coming days. There should not be any gap in this integration. However, we have examined that there is no leakage or no gaps in the integration because the integration approach also revised recently. It was made adapter based, and in the adapter based integration there is no chance of data leakages. However, there may be some other issues which will be examined by covering the past data, and this exercise will be extensively done in the upcoming few days. Now there is second issue is direction wise reflection of question orders at yard and station, because we know that block sections are defined. Block sections automatically define their direction. When I say that there is a block section TKJ to NDLS, then reverse block section will be NDLS to TKJ. Means block section define direction automatically. So there is no issue in block section. And block section are picked according to direction, because direction self-implied in the block section, because we define block section directionally. But when we define a yard or a station, then there is no direction inbuilt in that, because NDLS is itself a code, and a code doesn't tell what is the direction. NDLS, there may be a line for up direction, on NDLS there may be a line for down direction. So to rectify this issue, control office application, there is a provision in control office application as mentioned by GM control office application, that previous and next station also captured. So when a question is imposed in control office application, then user have to select the combinations which are applicable for that particular question, and have to select all the previous and next station pairs where the question is applicable. So suppose up direction denoting that previous station is TKJ and next station is DW, then what internally it represents? It represents that the train route is TKJ to NDLS and NDLS to DW. When user print a question order, then user have to tell a route. Route may be tell by selecting a train number, or route may be given by selecting a goods route. So this particular sequence will match the route. So for if my route is TKJ to NDLS, then NDLS to DW, then this route will match only one direction. So only that direction questions will be picked, and other direction will be avoided. So this solution basically implemented later on when we came across the direction issue, and it is already in place. When we talk about both direction, then in control office application, user impose only one question order for both direction. But what control office application internally do? Control office application internally divide the single both direction question order into two records, one for up direction and one for down direction. User have to feed the data in the both direction single question order with respect to up direction. Means user have to mention the from and to kilometer with respect to up direction only. System automatically reverses the kilometer and create the down direction record internally without any impression to the end user. So these two records are internally created and used by the system to process the data and to reflect the data. So this development basically resolved lot many problems. Now our third major issue is removal of toggle button. And because fourth issue, sequencing of alphanumeric kilometers, both are correlated and come in the single solution. So recently, because the earlier user interface using toggle button what toggle button does, the auto arranging of question sequencing and kilometer sequencing as per the desired order, because in some block sections or some sections kilometers are in increasing order, and in some block sections kilometers are in decreasing order. So there is no clue where the kilometers have to be shown in increasing order, where in the decreasing order. So provision was given, toggling provision was there to adjust or rearrange the orders, kilometer orders in that particular manner. So basically there are single toggle to toggle the all questions from notice to notice, or there are provision to toggle a particular block section or to toggle the questions at a particular station. So there are station and block section wise toggle button along with all toggle button. So user have to verify the entire list of question order and correct the proper sequencing by clicking the respective toggle button, and finally after verification user print the question order. Other than that, one more interface recently launched which doesn't use any toggle button. But what system doing? System picking up the data as it is. Whatever from and to kilometers fed by the user, system is picking as it is, because there is no issue after implementing the 3-station principle covering the previous and next station. System is aware that what is from kilometer and what is 2 kilometer as per route. System is picking as it is and displaying. So this solution providing the solution to overcome the toggle button problem. So system is reflecting from and 2 kilometer as it is. Now the second issue comes into picture, that within a block section or within a yard station, if there are more than one question imposed, then there may be issue in the sequencing. Which question order should be in the up, which question order should be down, because this issue faced where kilometers are given in alphanumeric manner, because system is not intelligent enough to arrange alphanumeric kilometers in a logical sequence. Because when we talk about ascending, descending, then there must be a number or there must be an alphabet. But when it is alphanumeric and there is no particular standard in alphanumeric kilometers, sometimes alphabet is prefix, sometimes alphabet is suffix. So to resolve this issue in this interface, one more additional facility is also provided within a block section or station. If user want to shift a particular record up and down, so user can do that and arrange the entire question order in a particular in the desired sequence. So this is a minimal click. It is rarely required that user is doing 1 or 2 click depending on the alphanumeric locations. Otherwise that is not required. So what we are feeling that this interface will resolve these major issues, and for the trial purpose, Muradabad, Delhi, Prayagraj and Agra divisions are doing testing on this user interface, and these divisions have completed the entries of their referential data based on 3 principal stations. So basically what user have to fresh impose all the questions belongs to both direction which are prior to release of new interface. So this is the prerequisite, that if user want to use this new interface, user have to close the both direction questions which are older than the release of this new interface and fresh impose both direction questions. So this is the prerequisite. After imposing fresh, user can use the new interface. If any division rectifies the reference data issue, we can discuss and we can give access to that division, because we are doing it gradually one by one. Now, fifth major issue is question order printing provision for goods train routes. So first thing is that earlier most of the users printing goods question order by selecting a particular train number in the provision provided. But there are some routes which are not covered by any of the passenger train. So provision is already there under preferences. There is a option goods route. User have to define the goods route one time. This is one time activity. When we define a goods route, then it must be notice to notice complete route. There may be junction points in between notice to notice, but user have to tell, suppose my notice station is A and I want to issue the question order up to C, then I will define the route from A to C. Suppose there is a notice, there is a junction B in between. So from B, there may be different routes, but user have to define the complete route from A to C, A to A1, A to B, up to C, like that. So if there is other route in other notice to notice pair, then that route have to be defined separately. So basically what we are covering all the possible routes, but this is one time activity, and this will avoid any kind of discrepancy and complexity in the logic, because the complete and simple data makes the IT system more flexible and more robust. So as soon as we define the goods route here, the route is given a particular number. Like that in this example, custom goods route number 16 is given by the system. Now suppose if sorry, 1 minute. Suppose user want to use this particular route to print a question, then when user come into the question order printable format, then in that particular MIS, the option route is already there. When user select the route option, then in the drop down all the defined goods route listed, as we can see in the right side box. So all the goods route listed out, user have to select the desired goods route. As soon as user select the desired goods route, it shows the complete route from end to end for verification purpose. If the route is perfect and okay, not required any kind of editing or alteration, then just user have to click the display button. Just only 2 clicks required to print the goods route. But other requirements are that all the stations and yards belongs to purely goods and related block sections as defined in control office application. It is particular, all those reference data must be available in ICMS, because ICMS primarily deals with only passenger traffic. But because of this particular module to cover the all the part, ICMS also have to maintain the all the goods related reference data, goods related stations and block sections. So we have done that exercise in the past recently to sync the reference data of stations and block sections and updated all the goods related stations and block sections in ICMS. In case any division or station come across the issue that he is not able to finding their particular yard or block sections in ICMS, that come into the notice in ICMS, we will do this exercise accordingly. But we are doing this exercise gradually as and when we feel that. But because this have been implemented in our process part, as soon as any new station or block section added in control office application, that is also added and implemented at the same time in ICMS. So there is no lack in that. But however, in case of any such issue noticed by user, that must be into notice to COA control office application or ICMS, so that we can do that to bridge the gap. Now these are some minor issues. Basically, some users want that there should be combined question order for yard and block section, means covering the jurisdiction of yard and block section in a single question. But as per existing system design, there must be 2 separate question orders. Yard questions should be separate from block section question order. So it is desired that user impose 2 question orders instead of one related to yard and other related to block section. So this is the requirement, and this is already provision already there. Plus user have to impose 2 question orders here. Other problem is printing of permanent or temporary or both. So provision is already there. If user want to view, see and include the permanent question order in the print in case. However, temporary question orders are printed in question order, but filter and provision is already there to select the proper option and print accordingly. Option to provide number of copies while printing a question order. Some users want that while printing a particular question order, I want to print 2 or 3 or 4 copies for same question order. So provision is already there. There is a box for number of copies. Before clicking the print icon, user have to tell the user have to input the number of copies, number 2, 3, 4 copies. So just input the number and system automatically print that number of copies. by retaining the same serial ID. So here is the important point is that system will print 3 copies, but serial ID will be same. Question ID. Question ID basically a unique 6-digit number which uniquely identify a question order. So that ID will remain same in both the 3 questions, in both the 3 copies. So that have to be into notice to the user and divisions. Now provision of line name instead of line number. So provision is already there in control office application. Just maintain the reference data of line number and line name in control office application, because as soon as a question is imposed in control office application, so along with line number, line name information is also passed to ICMS. In case line name reference data is not maintained in control office application, then in line name field the line number passed from control office application. So this is just the matter of maintaining the reference data. Now provision for standard templates for additional instructions to train manager and loco pilot. So the provision is already there under preferences. The utility is there. We can create n number of standard templates, and during the printing user have to select the particular template ID, and that particular instructions automatically gets printed on the question order. Now there are some formatting and printing related issues like font size and formatting, number of columns and column ordering, number of pages used in printer. Basically first 2 issues are basically because ICMS can issue only one format, and in the centralized question system only one format is possible. So any alteration or modification in the existing look and feel with respect to font size, formatting, column ordering and number of columns, the decision has to be given by the concerned nodal office, and accordingly we can make the changes. But at present, in the existing format, as consultation with COFIS office, the format according to that, any changes in that respect may be communicated by COFIS office. Now the number of pages used in printing, so this depends on the font size, because if I increase the font size, I will definitely consume more pages. Now number of question orders in a page, this depends on the printer setting, and this is local issue. There is no this issue is not linked with IT application. This is linked with setting of printer. Now question order format number, at present we are using the format number with the T/409. Some divisions and zone insisting that it should be T/409A, but we are using TA/40 TA/409 for nil question order. Now what is correct has to tell by the COFIS office. And other last option, last issue is station name not reflecting in question order. At present ICMS is reflecting station name and station code both in the question order. What it should be, accordingly may be advised. But there is no such issue that station name not reflecting in printable question order, because we have examined various cases and various combinations. Station name always reflect there, and there should not be any gap in that. If there is such issue noticed and come across any user, please tell us. Now in the last year, in the month of May, nil question order issue noticed at Surat notice station, where while printing the question order, system show nil questions. So basically this issue was related to some validation checks. So basically the train number was 09035 MMCT MUV summer special. At Surat station, it was scheduled on 19th May 2021. But as per timetable, it was scheduled on 19th May, but question order printing done before odd hours, because the scheduled time at Surat station was 2:36 a.m. on 19th. Question order printed on 18th before odd hours on 18th. After validation, system checked that at Surat station it's scheduled running on 19th. So on 18th it didn't find any train service at Surat because the train profile was fresh starting from 18th. So system generated nil question because of that validation. But when we observed that at that stage system was capturing only train number as an input during printing of question order. So one more input was required to resolve this issue, that is capturing of scheduled date of train, because we don't know that in such scenario in on which date user is printing question order. It may be printed before odd hours or after odd hours. So what solution given? First, user have to select a particular scheduled train date. It may be current date or it may be next date. Only two date options are there. So user have to select a date. Based on that scheduled train date, system check the particular train and issue the notices, issue the question orders. So after capturing this particular input, this issue got resolved. And
in this particular,
sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
am I audible now?
Sir, please repeat, sir.
Yeah, the question in this particular thing is that the case in this particular case, CPU sir had to give an hello.
Yes, sir.
In this particular case, it was quite obvious that zero question order was given, but instead of 30, if it is 28 is given, it will be very difficult for anybody to cross check it manually, because after implementation of system, there will not be any backup system or backup manual system from which it can be checked. This case was extraordinary because there was nil question order given and deputies could have identified it. Ki question order has become zero.
Nil question order was given because
instead of 30, there are 28 question orders. Because many times we implement questions in the evening and the questions get implemented from the next day.
Yes.
The ASM who had apparently no role in issuing of question order,
actually
implementation of system will be penalized in this particular case.
Number one thing, that in this case there was no service scheduled on 18th at Surat station. That was scheduled on 19th, but question printed on 18th. So
obviously the question order will be printed at least half to 1 hour before the actual departure of the train. If the train is departing at odd by 10 from some station and the person is printing
Ravi, let me address this problem.
Sir.
Can you please identify, is this Dr. Swapnil?
Yes, sir. I am Dr. Swapnil, Senior DOM Pune.
Swapnil, the thing is like this. This profile was new. This profile did not exist before 18th. And the first time this profile was created was on 19th. Now, when the ASM tried to print this caution order on 18th, I mean, the system told it that there is no such profile available, and that is why this nil caution order came out. Now, when this issue was brought to our notice on 19th itself, we delved into this problem, looked into it, and found out the root cause of the problem, analyzed the whole thing, found the solution, developed it, and deployed it. The problem came because the profile was being implemented for the first time. Any train service which is available already and it's not a new profile, the question you asked, it will still provide in caution order all the existing caution orders which are there at a given point of time. But in this particular case, it was a new profile which did not exist in the system before 19th. And because caution order was printed on 18th, I mean, the system did not detect this train. So once this issue was brought to our notice, we have started capturing the start date as well, so that if a train service is going to start as a new train service from 19th, even if you print it on 18th, it will detect that train and will provide all the caution orders for that route. So this issue we have specifically tried to bring it in this presentation so as to explain it to everyone that it's not that there will never be any issues. I've been going through chats, and in chats everyone is talking about 100% safety thing. Yes, I mean that's the ideal, that's the desirable thing. But then even the manual systems, they cannot be said to be 100% safe. And if the system starts using the caution order module, rare cases like this would definitely be brought out. I mean, we cannot on our part claim that CRIS engineers can visualize all possible combinations, scenarios, situations, and write and deploy the software for that. Once the user starts using a system, the issues, the bottlenecks, the problems start cropping up, and it is a joint endeavor of all of us. It's not CRIS versus railways or railways versus CRIS. It is our joint endeavor to make it successful. And for that, we need the users to please bring it to our notice those substantive issues which require a definite change in our approach if the approach is not right. As I mean, everyone has seen in the presentation, we have tried to categorize the issues under three categories. One, major issues which were brought from time to time and they were given a very serious look and addressed. Second category and third categories of issues are more in the nature of, cosmetic issues, in the sense that, I mean, here add two columns, or here you delete one column, or you increase the font size, or you provide the point page numbers. I mean, these issues can always be standardized so that they are followed across IR system in a uniform manner. You can all please appreciate that no IT system can cater to individual requirement of every local area. Across IR today, the manual caution order system is in place, and no officer can say that the system is universally and uniformly applied. All divisions and area offices and zones, they are following their own system. Now, to expect an IT system to have a universalized kind of answer to all these variations, that is simply impossible. So far as these formats are concerned, I mean, as has already been pointed out, that we need to follow a standardized process. Either the CO system office can do that, or the board can decide, and we all will adopt that. And so far as major issues are concerned, we have already tried to flag all the major issues which have been brought to our notice so far. We have tried to provide answers, and it is a process of evolution. I'm not saying that the process is complete. If at all there is any issue which is brought to our notice, we would give our sincerest commitment and attention in solving the issue. See, what is the point if we have worked for 2 years and if the thing is not being utilized? If you people do not get the confidence to use it, you will be reluctant to use it. And the entire effort which has gone in the last 2 years in developing this module will be of no consequence. So it is our joint effort. Let us not put two silos, ki one is CRIS and another silo is railway. Let us see how it can be made to work. That would be the success for all of us. This is what I thought I should say when Swapnil raised this answer. I understand, Swapnil.
Sir, we are requesting the same thing, sir. Unless and until the issues are resolved or a standardized format is not created, we should refrain from implementing this across Indian Railways, sir, because there might be
Swapnil, here I beg to differ. See, I am trying to say unless the system is 100% perfect, I will not use it. Now tell me, I just answer a very innocuous and very simple question to all of us. Kindly don't feel offended. I mean, we all run trains day in and day out. There are accidents.
Rajiv, CO system here. CO system here.
Sir.
And this is, I'm informing to all the divisions that the performa for the caution order has been made by the FOIS office in consultation with Railway Board, and this was the agreed performa, and these caution orders are being implemented. Whosoever is wanting to implement, they have implemented. The trains are running as per this particular system. If this system was so unsafe, it would have met with some accident. बट इस तरह की कोई बात नहीं हुई है. नॉर्दर्न रेलवे का एग्जांपल ले लीजिए. नॉर्दर्न रेलवे में क्वेश्चंस चल रहे हैं and there is no reason for complaint. There can be a specific complaint. Kindly bring it to the notice of Chris. Kindly bring it to the notice of the CEO of FOIS office. Sanjay Mishra from the FOIS office will be coordinating it. Kindly bring it to our notice. We will resolve each and every problem. But first, start implementing. Do not wait for these. Has all got board's approval. This has been designed, the caution order format has been designed in consultation with Railway Board. Today, nobody can come and say that this is something which is, not standard and that somebody should actually put permanent speed restriction and all that. It is just not desirable. Permanent speed restriction, किसी railway की demand है कि permanent speed restriction को caution में आप डाल दीजिए. Now, everywhere the caution order में permanent speed restriction नहीं दिए जाते हैं. Loco pilots are supposed to actually see the working timetable for that. Now, these reasons do not become a reason for not implementing the caution order module. It is purely an implementation problem in the zonal railways and in the division. Kindly ensure that it is implemented. We are here to solve each and every problem of yours. Thank you.
So thank you from my side. It's all.
And participants, if they
Any
want
questions?
participants, if they want to ask substantive questions, which are actually pertaining to this.
Sir, I just want to interrupt. Sir, I just want to interrupt. There are a lot of questions in the chat box, and some people have raised their hands. So I'll go by the chat box first. And sorry for those who have raised hands. We'll come to you after the chat box. Maybe some of the queries may be answered by the chat box questions itself. Your queries are answered. Please lower your hands, and we'll go to the chat box. I'll read one by one. Sir, डाला हुआ है, लोगों ने डाला हुआ है. So because they may not forget or they may not miss out, so we'll take one by one, and the concerned person can unmute and answer for the query. I'll just read the chats one by one.
चैट बॉक्स में डाला है. इसको ले लो.
First query. Sir, please आप म्यूट कर लीजिए.
इसमें से कैसे डालेंगे? हम कैसे डालेंगे?
सर GMWR सर प्लीज आप म्यूट कर लीजिए. TI coaching essay to essay, Mr. Sri Venkatesh. The question is, though COA caution order has the option for feeding CI, SI, TI, these three details are not being printed in caution order form, downloaded from ICMS. Please help. So this has to be both addressed by COA and ICMS team. I think COA can reply this. Why this is not printed or they are not sending. Then the printing option can be addressed by Ravinder.
I am Rajiv Gupta. Yeah, this CISI TI stands for this caution indicator, speed indicator, and train indicator, termination indicator. This information is, if fed into the module by the user, then it is stored in the COA, but and it is if required, then we can give it to ICMS also, and they can start printing. It depends whether this is to be printed or not. If it is to be printed, then through integration we can start communicating to the ICMS. But these are not mandatory fields, so only partially there may be some people feeding, some people feeding, some may not be feeding. It is not a mandatory field as of now in the COA caution order module.
Rajiv, if you ask for my opinion, I don't think the caution order is going to contain these kind of information. When we issue manual caution orders, I want to know from the users whether they are entering this kind of data in the manual caution order. Can anyone from the railway user side answer?
Yes, sir.
No, sir, we are not entering these details in Sambalpur, sir.
No, let us not talk about a non-standard practice. Here, if we want to standardize a system, then we have to go by what board has decided, as CEO sir himself has mentioned. I mean, there may be local variations available. We cannot cater to each and every local requirement. To the best of my understanding, I could be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. To the best of my understanding, I have not come across caution orders where I have seen the mention of kilometers of the speed indicator or caution indicator or termination of passenger or termination of goods speed restriction, because that is going to clutter your caution order paper, and they are the field indicators which are required to be placed in the field by the engineering department. So everything cannot be brought here. Please appreciate that.
Sorry, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Hari Kumar, Senior DOM, Tiruchirappalli, sir. This, whatever the format mentioned, it is being followed the entire Southern Railway, sir. All these three indicators. This is why we are not able to implement in Southern Railways.
Southern Railway, kindly change your instructions. I am CEO system here. This format has been decided in consultation with Railway Board, and these are the standard columns which is actually followed in most of the zonal railways, wherein we do not give details of the caution indicator boards and the speed limit board and the termination board. So if
Yes.
the particular railway should, if they are deviating from it, can you adopt this particular norm? Because even your GNSR does not talk about such kind of things.
Noted, sir.
We go to the next query. The next is from DRM Howrah. How can we rely on the system if delay can't be avoided? It's a safety issue. That is his query, sir. Anybody wants to take an unmute and...
This is DRM Howrah here. Yeah, basically in the initial presentation, COA, you said that there are delays because of the system being down for a few minutes or even a couple of hours. So in that case, there will be issues in case of cautions implemented, which, cautions applied, which are to be implemented in, let's say, next half an hour. So this is something which needs to be resolved at the system level, that the delays are not there. Otherwise, we may miss the caution altogether. Thank you.
Sir, GMCOA Rajiv, I will try to address this query, sir. As of now, as per the current architecture, if everything is fine, there are three major constituents. One is the control office application server, which is located at the divisional control office. One is the channel between that control office application to the CRIS Chanakyapuri office. And third is the ICMS server. So this data has to travel from the control office application server, which is there in the division, to the ICMS server, which is hosted at the CRIS Chanakyapuri New Delhi office. So in this scenario, if there is a network failure, or if the network latency is high at that particular point of time, then there may be delay. It may be a few minutes, but data will not be lost because this data is being transmitted through a mechanism called enterprise service bus, and that enterprise service bus takes care of the persistence of data, and till the point data is transmitted to the destination application, it holds the data. So data will not be lost. But if the network is completely down, or if network is slow, and which is a recurring issue, network is every day, one or two divisions are down for some time, for some duration. So this type of issue will be there. For that, and if the caution is to be imposed, say just now at 12:20 it is imposed, and train has to go at 12:30, and network is down. So this has to be taken care of by the user only, because the system at that point of time cannot get updated and that cannot be accessed, updated quotient. But after the network is restored, then the network, that quotient will get updated and subsequently that will be available. So during this intervening period, the user only has to be alert.
I'm ADRM operations Hubli. In this regard, I have a small suggestion. This for the printing, one more validation can you add from the concerned server whether we are able to connect. With that time stamp, if you validate, otherwise printing should not be permissible, or it give a message it is updated up to that time only, so that any question order thereafter can be manually taken care of.
Western Railway has shared this screen which is being shown right now. So out of 12 issues, I believe 10 issues are yet to be resolved. So can somebody...
Sir, आप audible नहीं है.
No, I mean, Uday, I'm coming back to the same thing again, and we are moving now in circles.
Rajiv.
Sir.
Rajiv, GMICMS, let that ADRM operations suggestion which has come from Hubli be addressed by the GM COA. And as far as the latency issue, if any, is there in the system between the ICMS and the COA needs to be addressed. Now that suggestion of a timestamp that he's talking of, Rajiv Gupta, kindly examine if that is possible. If that is possible, kindly incorporate so that there should not be any kind of a mismatch between what is actually fed into the COA and the ICMS. That's a very, very vital thing, and it is vital thing, and it is safety discussion. And therefore that needs to be addressed. Thank you very much for the suggestion, and we will definitely examine this particular thing. But the divisions are requested to bring any of such discrepancy to our notice immediately. Be it 24 hours, day and night, kindly tell us that such kind of a thing has happened. You fed a caution in the COA at this particular time, and it reflected into the ICMS at such and such time. So kindly bring it to the notice. Rajiv Gangal, you can continue. You can continue.
I completely agree with CEO sir. The suggestion is very valid and well received. I mean, we'll definitely look into this. And because Uday had presented his list, I started answering his point. See, Uday, your list also contains several points which have been dealt with extensively in the past. Most of them are related with let me complete Uday. Most of them are related with these formats and this thing. If out of 12 points which you are showcasing, you feel that this particular item has not been addressed, you can raise it and we'll try to answer that.
Okay.
लेकिन वहां से भी हो ये रहा है ना कि ये गाड़ियां जो है ना टाइम उन्होंने देने की उन्होंने टाइम बताया कि इतने बजे के बाद कोई गाड़ी प्रॉब्लम बता रहे हैं
चलिए फिर तो रिजॉल्व नहीं होगा
मैं एनडब्ल्यूआर से बात कर लेता हूँ और उसको बोलता हूँ उससे पहले वाली गाड़ी में किसी में लगा सकते हो तो लगा दो
Let's not waste time of each other. This is Ajmer division of NWR says that he is not able to give caution because the Western Railway does not feed caution between Ahmedabad and Palanpur. And Western Railway says that they are not able to use this particular caution because Ajmer division doesn't feed it. It is a joint effort by all the railways at the interchange point. Such problems will occur. That in case if you do not feed the data completely and all the zonal railways and all the divisional interchange point, the system is not going to work. And therefore, this kind of excuse that the Western Railway doesn't feed it and therefore I am also not feeding it, and the Western Railway also say the same thing because the NWR is not feeding it, and that is why I am not able to give caution to any train originating from Ahmedabad. Kindly see to it that this kind of a complaint has to be addressed at the zonal railway hall. Please, both the CPTM should talk to each other and get it resolved. Please resolve this particular issue because everybody has to complete that caution in their own domain. It can happen in the divisional interchange. It can also happen in the zonal interchange point.
Okay, Neeraj sir, can I come in? I'm Devendra Kumar, PED coaching.
Yes, please, Devendra.
Neeraj sir, CEO voice, Shri Sanjay Mishra, CPM, Rajiv Gangal ji, GM, our ED is also on the line, Mandeep Bhatia, DRM Howrah, Shri Manish Jain, and Rajiv Gupta. ADRM, senior DOMs, all the team from Chris and FOIS, it has been a good presentation. What I feel, the issues will be there. We should start resolving these issues, number one. And I will suggest the CPTMs should start taking up, analyze the problems which the senior DOMs are raising and get on quickly for use of ICMS and COA for printing of the caution order. That is number one target. We will start monitoring this on everyday basis from today. And in the morning, I will be checking with the CPTMs as to what is the percentage increase in printing of these caution orders through the ICMS. That is the second point. Third point is CPTM ECR has given a good suggestion. In case of network issues, maybe there can be a, like ADRM has suggested from Hubli, that there can be a timestamp and there can be a possibility of printing a PDF in PDF format. That may be, I will request Shri Rajiv Gangal to look into it, and if we are able to do that, that will perhaps resolve the issue for some time. And whereas this network latency is there, network problems are there, I will request, I will request that we can have a joint check. And if these problems persist, those areas we will try and monitor closely so that the issue of safety also is resolved. And till the time we are able to come to 100% of caution order, we will be doing the manual caution order also. But I expect that from in about a week's time or 10 days time, we should be able to get onto the 100% through the ICMS system. And as a follow-up of today, maybe if we see the improvement or otherwise, we can have a VC again next week so that these issues can be resolved. And I will also request the CPTMs to get in touch, ask their people to get in touch with Chris teams for quick resolution of their problems. And all the zonal railways, I will request, instead of having individual format, the format which is universally followed, which is applicable as per our standardized format in ICMS Chris, other smaller changes which you want to bring about, that we can discuss. But as of now, the changes, the caution order format which is available as per the railway board guidelines, I think that should prevail. Thank you, Neeraj sir, for this VC, and I thank all the officers for joining. If there are any further queries, they can be taken up.
Can we raise one issue which is related with the data feeding of data logger and all that, sir? That issue is also need to be resolved.
What is the issue? Tell me.
Issue is, sir, intersectional running time is defined, and in case if the train is coming before time, it is reporting as not reported. So that is required to be reviewed, sir.
Okay. So
and another issue is, sir, data has been captured by the data logger, but it is not accepted by the COA. So that is also required to be resolved, sir.
Okay.
दोनों issue I would like to address. तो आपने जो बोला कि डाटा लॉगर टाइम इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेड बाय कोआ, इसमें COA डाटा में अभी जैसे मैंने फर्स्ट स्लाइड आपको दिखाया था, देयर आर मल्टीपल सोर्सेज ऑफ डाटा. तो उसके लिए एक लॉजिक बिल्ट है जिसमें कि फर्स्ट 4 minutes फ्रॉम द अकरेंस ऑफ एन इवेंट आर रिजर्व्ड फॉर GPS डाटा. If the train is being hauled by a loco which is fitted with RTIS or Ramrod device, then the COA will wait for 4 minutes. Means it is expecting the data to come within the 4 minutes of occurrence of event. Then after those 4 minutes are over, we post the occurrence of event. If the timing has come from data logger, then it will get updated. And in case the train was not being hauled by an RTS or Ramroad topo, means it was a regular topo without any GPS device, then as soon as data is received from data logger, it will get updated. These are two scenarios. Third scenario is, even if the data has come from data logger, it came within time, still it can get rejected if the train number given by the station master or the train date given by the station master, or in case of a goods train, loco number given by the station master is wrong, then that will also get rejected. So the data will be accepted from a data logger only as per this logic. Number one. और आपका जो दूसरा इश्यू था ISRT, that is called intersectional run time. तो आपने कहा कि ट्रेन आ गई तो सिस्टम एक्सेप्ट नहीं करता है उसका अराइवल. ऐसे सिस्टम में सीओए में अप टू 2 आवर्स बिफोर अराइवल का चेक है. यदि शेड्यूल टाइम 12 बजे है और ट्रेन 10 बजे आ गई है तो 10 से 12 के बीच में सीओए विल एक्सेप्ट एनी टाइम. If it comes more than 2 hours before the scheduled time, it will not accept, based upon the logic that in that case the timetable needs to be rectified. So there is a validation. But यदि इसको चेंज करना है तो there is
तो एक्सेप्ट नहीं होता है.
हाँ
वेस्टर्न में तो 5 मिनट पहले भी आ जाती है तो एक्सेप्ट नहीं होता.
Rajiv Gupta and the CPTM Western. You see, these are issues away from caution order. We are discussing caution order thing right now. In case that you have any other problem to discuss, kindly have a meeting scheduled separately. Let's focus on caution order and answer the question on caution order. CPTM Western seems to have lots of problem. I request the CPTM Western come to Delhi, sit with both the GMs, sit with the FOIS team, sit with the railway board and get his issue resolved. I request railway board to ask CPTM Western to come to Delhi and get it resolved within a day. For a day here and everything will be resolved.
ठीक है सर, करते हैं. उदय, आप अपने जो क्वेरीज हैं, व्हाट यू कैन डू, यू कैन गिव इट टू.
ठीक है, पहले हम लिख के भेजते हैं आप लोग.
आप इनको राजीव गंगल साहब को भेज दें. विल ट्राई एंड.
हाँ ठीक है.
और जैसे
गुड आफ्टरनून सर.
नहीं, आप इनको भाई CPTM वेस्टर्न उदय तुम दिल्ली आ जाओ ना, तुम्हें हम बैठ करके सारी चीजें समझा देते हैं कैसे करना है. You come over to Delhi, we will explain to you everything.
Basically
explain to you all the logic which has been.
इस संबंध में जैसे हम लोगों ने 3-4 बार पत्र लिखा हुआ था, तो एक्शन
आपके जो पत्र हैं अभी आप कॉशन ऑर्डर से डिविएट करके किसी और टॉपिक को डिस्कस कर रहे हैं.
नहीं, वो तो हम
अभी आपको ये कह रहा हूं मैं कि आप काइंडली कम टू दिल्ली, we will resolve all your issues.
Okay.
Come with your entire team of the Western Railway.
Okay. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, this is Imtiaz, Senior DM Danapur. Am I audible, sir? We had implemented, in fact, for 1 month, we ran this system. We generated and printed the caution order through ICMS. And from the Danapur to Jhaja, we were giving this caution order, but we had to stop it because of some caution order related issues. So, for example, from Danapur to DDU, it is in up direction. If we give some caution, feed some caution from starter to advanced starter in between the caution, the location is from starter to advanced starter. If a train starts from Danapur itself, yard itself, then it doesn't come for that particular train. It doesn't show that caution is not shown on caution order. But for Patna, that is, the Patna is in down direction. So from Patna, that caution appears in caution order. So these kinds of, and then there are some other issues that there are some duplication of caution order. For the same kilometer, 2 times it appears in the caution order. In some cases, caution order is fed, but it doesn't appear on the caution order. So for this, we are not confident that if we will allow it and we will implement it in our division, some problems or some safety related issue may come up. So that's why.
Danapur, we have heard you and we have understood your problem. What you are, Rajiv Gupta, could you address the issue while the feeding of the caution in the board itself? There seems to be a problem because the yard caution order and the section caution order, which needs to be filled in separately, as he has explained. Rajiv Gupta, kindly clarify. Because if this caution is not picking up from Danapur, it means that you are not feeding it in the yard.
Yeah, sir. Similar issue I had from one more division yesterday. I think it was Lucknow. Yes, LJ and senior DO से बात हो रही थी. उसमें ये है sir, if that train is originating from a particular station, then जो अभी ICMS के presentation में दिखाया गया था, you have to choose previous station and next station. Suppose train is passing through से दानापुर, तब तो आपको पासिंग थ्रू में प्रीवियस और नेक्स्ट आप चूज करेंगे तो वो जो भी आपने क्वेश्चन इंपोज किया इंपोज हो गया. बट आपने जब स्टेशन यार्ड से ट्रेन ओरिजिनेट कर रही है, इन दैट आल्सो यू हैव टू चूज द प्रीवियस एंड नेक्स्ट, देन ओनली इट विल गेट it will appear, it will get implemented for a train originating station. So perhaps it is a user issue. बाकी मैं आपसे separately बात कर लूंगा. So that is why I had said that if the users feel that they require further training, then division wise we can organize training. Our CRIS regional offices will organize training for all the users of each division separately.
Sir, excuse me, sir, just for, because Danapur division is ready with all infrastructure and everything, may we given some training, right? If we are called to Delhi, we will come, or someone can be sent to Danapur division, because we are ready to implement it in our division, sir. So
Imtiaz, we are in dialogue. This is a CPTM ECR, sir. There is no need right now. Data entry has not been done correctly by the divisions that we have already checked yesterday. And very shortly we'll be organizing a workshop with Chris online for all the divisions of ECR, maybe tomorrow itself. मैं बात कर लेता हूँ राजीव सर से अलग से, ठीक है? तो डाटा एंट्री का इशू है, that is not the problem with the system.
Finally, all the CPTMs are requested to intervene, get into the divisional problem, sort it out, because what we are telling you, the initial ICMS slide, that it has been implemented in number of divisions and the trains are successfully running. If there is a problem, there is a problem of data entry that needs to be resolved. And if there is a doubt, you can either contact the regional office as to the COA is concerned, or you can contact the CRIS office, both ICMS and the COA team. We are always available. Kindly initiate. You have a WhatsApp group of the CO FOIS IT group. Every officer of the CRIS is a member of that. Kindly post all your complaints there. Each and every complaint will be addressed, provided you do get involved into this. But I would request that the involvement of officers needs to be there. There should not be an inspector tweeting that particular thing that there is a problem there in the question.
Good afternoon, sir. I have one suggestion, sir. This side, Naveen, senior DO of Firozpur, sir. I'm audible, sir.
Bolo, Naveen, bolo.
Sir, we have already implemented, and there is no issue of any such discrepancy, sir, here. But एक suggestion है, sir, कि जब हम क्वेश्चन impose करते हैं COA में, तो वहाँ पे एक message they ask, just like a pop-up message, whether you want to impose it or implement it. But similar provision should be for, sir, deleting any question. क्योंकि recently one incident happened here. सेक्शन कंट्रोलर से गलती से वो डिलीट हो गया और उसको पता भी नहीं लगा. ऑल्दो स्टेशन ने जब क्वेश्चन प्रिंट किया तो ही सॉ दैट कि क्वेश्चन इसमें से मिस है नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चन से. तो सर वन रिक्वेस्ट, पॉपअप मैसेज आए सर सीओए में, डिलीटिंग द क्वेश्चन.
पॉइंट अंडरस्टूड. राजीव गुप्ता.
सर ये लेटर हमें मिल चुका है, COFIS ऑफिस ने फॉरवर्ड किया था, पर आपने लिखा होगा फिरोजपुर ने. ये करीब 15 दिन पहले लेटर आया था. इसका डेवलपमेंट हमारा रेडी है एंड वी विल बी रिलीजिंग इट इन अनदर 1 or 2 वीक्स. रिलीज करते हैं तो हम नॉर्मली क्लब करके करते हैं, तो 2-4 इश्यू हो जाते हैं, देन इकट्ठा हम रिलीज कर देंगे.
तो आप रिलीज कर दीजिए इसको. दिस इज अ गुड सजेशन दैट आप जब क्वेश्चन इंपोज करने के समय आप पॉपअप विंडो देते हैं तो आप क्वेश्चन डिलीट करते समय भी आप उसको पॉपअप विंडो दीजिए. दिस इज अ फेयर एनफ सजेशन एंड दैट कैन बी इनकॉर्पोरेटेड. वी विल इनकॉर्पोरेट. आप इंडिविजुअली इसका रिलीज कर दीजिए EXE फाइल, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है.
श्योर, ओके. इसको फिर मैं आज या कल में ही करवा देता हूं.
फिरोजपुर डिवीजन, आपके यहाँ ये सारे हर एक नोटिस स्टेशन से क्वेश्चंस दिए जा रहे हैं ICMS पे, एवरी नोटिस स्टेशन?
हाँ सर, हम सबसे दे रहे हैं, सभी नोटिस स्टेशन से. कुछ जगह हमारा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर रेडी नहीं है सर, तो वहाँ से हम नहीं दे रहे. बट
जहाँ पे भी रेडी है वहाँ पे किसी तरीके की कोई प्रॉब्लम आ रही है किसी को?
नहीं सर, प्रॉब्लम नहीं आ रही. एक आध प्रॉब्लम है सर, वो नेटवर्क से रिलेटेड इश्यूज हैं, वो हमें खुद स्ट्रेंथन करना है अपने नेटवर्क्स को सर.
राइट. ओके. Any other
question? Sir, Senior DO Lucknow, sir. I have one question, sir. Sir, regarding implementation of this caution, sir, can we have a unified mechanism right now? People are doing by their own. In some division, we are having a provision. They have established a notice station in their control, and they are issuing the cautions from there. But most of the cases, it is not like the uniform system. So, sir, my request is that if there can be a guideline regarding this, कि ये कर लिया जाए, so it will be a much more easier thing and it will be implementable also, or it will be a great help for everybody.
ठीक है, उसको देखते हैं. Good suggestion. But what we'll do is जो अभी का जो system है, we'll try and get that working. जैसे
हाँ सर, वो कर रहे हैं सर. उसमें सिर्फ ये है सर, बोर्ड कंट्रोलर्स विल बी एट ईज, क्योंकि अभी उनको बहुत सारी चीजें चेक नहीं कर पाते. नोटिस स्टेशन, इफ वी कैन डिक्लेयर इट एज अ नोटिस स्टेशन एंड वी कैन अरेंज अ पर्सन टू सिट देयर, तो वो चीज क्लियर हो जाएगी. और जो 3-4 चीजें जो कॉमनली आ रही, जैसे आईसीएमएस से डेटा, सीओए से डेटा आईसीएमएस में नहीं जा रहा है, दैट पर्सन कैन इजीली चेक इट आउट एंड ही कैन गेट इट टू नो दैट कि इट हैज बीन ट्रांसमिटेड टू द सीओए से आईसीएमएस और नॉट. तो वो वहीं पे रिजॉल्व हो जाएंगे इश्यूज. जैसे मुरादाबाद डिवीजन इज डूइंग सो, बट एलजीएन इज नॉट डूइंग सो, समबडी विल बी डूइंग. तो ये कॉमन सा हो जाए सर, और कॉमन यूजर गाइडलाइंस एक निकल जाए सर.
तो आप क्या चाहते हो कि कंट्रोल ऑफिस को ही नोटिस स्टेशन डिक्लेयर कर दें?
सर, कंट्रोल ऑफिस को डिक्लेयर कर दिया जाए, बहुत हेल्प हो जाएगी सर इसमें. वहां पे एक आदमी बिठा दिया जाएगा एंड दैट विल बी अ सफिशिएंट थिंग.
उसको भेजिए, एक बार एग्जामिन भी करवा लेते हैं. ठीक है, गुड सजेशन. और कौन सा डिवीजन कर रहा है ये?
सर, मुरादाबाद हैव डन इट, आई थिंक. मतलब मुरादाबाद सिनेरियो कैन से.
आई विल चेक.
Sir, we are also doing, sir, in Firozpur same thing, because the section controllers are so busy कि उनसे इनिशियली जब हम फीड करवाते थे तो कई बार वो किलोमीटर्स और ये सब एंट्री, डेटा एंट्री में ह्यूमन एरर था. तो अभी हमने हर शिफ्ट में एक स्टेशन मास्टर बनाया है सर, और locally we have declared it as a notice station, sir, and that's why it is functioning well.
Devin, I want to say something here. If 2 divisions have already done it in an informal manner, why do you need board's approval for this? You please do it.
What we will do is
sir, इसमें board के approval की जरूरत नहीं है. Notice station they can declare on their own. Senior DMs can just take the approval of DRM and declare the notice station. What I understand is that they want, sir, उसमें जो COA system है उसमें ये define करना चाह रहे हैं शायद. नवीन?
सर, दोनों चीजें हैं सर. जैसे कुछ लोग कर रहे हैं, कुछ लोग नहीं कर रहे हैं. एक गाइडलाइन होती तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं थी.
एक मिनट. नोटिस स्टेशन डिक्लेयर करने के लिए किसी का अप्रूवल की जरूरत नहीं है. आप डीआरएम से बात करके डिक्लेयर कर दीजिए उसको. आई थिंक व्हाट यू मीन टू से कि कोआ में आप उसको करना चाहते हैं ना? क्या करना चाह रहे हैं?
यस सर, दैट इज.
फॉर दैट यू नीड असिस्टेंस फ्रॉम क्रिस.
नहीं सर, इसमें वो इशू नहीं है सर. इसमें वही केवल नोटिस स्टेशन डिक्लेयर करने का है कि जो मैनुअल कॉशन ऑर्डर में भी इम्पोज करने या कैंसिल करने का जो प्रोसीजरल एस्पेक्ट था, कि जहां कॉशन लगता है तो वो सेक्शन कंट्रोल से प्राइवेट नंबर एक्सचेंज करता है और नोटिस स्टेशन अपने एडजॉइनिंग नोटिस स्टेशन से. उसके साथ साथ वो जो हमने एक टर्मिनल पे एक स्टेशन मास्टर कंट्रोल में बिठा रखा है इस पर्पस के लिए, उससे भी प्राइवेट नंबर एक्सचेंज करता है, और वो सेक्शन कंट्रोल से वो पर्सन भी प्राइवेट नंबर एक्सचेंज करता है.
दैट यू कैन डू ऑन योर ओन. उसके लिए जरूरत नहीं है.
यस
बिल्कुल.
नहीं, सुनो, आप सीनियर डीएम फिरोजपुर, क्या नाम है आपका?
सर, नवीन कुमार सर.
नवीन, एक काम करिए, जो आपने किया है उसका थोड़ा एक मुझे राइटअप भेज दो.
सर, मैं भेज दूंगा सर. मैंने नॉर्दर्न हेडक्वार्टर को ऑलरेडी ये सजेशन भेज रखा है यूनिफॉर्मिटी के लिए, नॉर्मल. वो मैं सर फॉरवर्ड कर दूंगा आपको.
एक बार भेजिए जरा.
पीडी कोचिंग को मैं एड्रेस कर रहा हूँ. देखिए देवेंद्र जी, ऐसा है कि इस पर्टिकुलर इशू में ये प्रॉब्लम भी जो सेक्शन कंट्रोलर के बिजी होने की बात है, these are problems are also temporary problem. Because we are migrating into a lot of different ways into the IT. You recall that you have this RTIS and the data logger and also the REMLOT system, wherein the train arrival and departure data is going to be captured automatically by the system, and your section controller charts are going to be populated also automatically. And therefore, once that particular scenario comes in, you do not need a station master tomorrow. And I just disagree to believe that all the section boards are so busy that they are not able to fill the caution order. So there will be some section which will be utterly busy. There will be some sections where the workload will be lighter, and that can be managed by the divisions internally. There is no need for issuing any kind of a guideline from the top.
Okay, sir. Point well taken. फिर भी एक बार देख लेते हैं सर कैसे किया इन लोगों ने, so that we are also in knowledge of how things are being done in the divisions. आप एक जो भेजे हो हेडक्वार्टर को मुझे भी भेज देना. I will discuss with the PCO.
Right, sir.
If this can be done like this temporarily, जैसे सर बता रहे हैं नीरज सर कि थोड़े दिनों में we may have to we will get the automated system. तो till such time जैसे आपने किया है क्या हम इसको quick implementation के लिए उस तरीके से करें. But by and large CPTMs please note that we have to get this done and इसकी monitoring personally शुरू करें अगले एक हफ्ते तक. And I hope that from 1st of March we should be able to say that we are getting onto this printing of caution order through ICMS. Anybody else has any query? Any of the CPTMs? Any of the senior DOMs?
No queries. Can we go from by the chat queries?
Yeah, you can in the questions.
The next query is from Dr. Swapnil, Senior DOM PA. January 2021, twice ICMS went down for 4 hours. Regularly, ICMS go down for maintenance for 1 to 2 hours. This is extremely dangerous situation because once we are on the module, we don't have any manual option to fall back. Then, as there is no backup system. So,
Lakshmi, this matter has already been addressed.
Right, sir. Sir, next query is from Sri Lohit. How to update any changes in geography, territory, and assets of the division? Anybody from COA? Because that get updated in COA first.
Yeah, I will address that. Any database changes, that data has to be shared by the divisions with the CRIS regional offices. It is an established practice. The CRIS regional office के आपके जो IT coordinator हैं, every control has one IT coordinator. So they are in close touch with CRIS regional offices. So any database change, they communicate to CRIS regional office and they update the database.
Next question from Senior DOM ADI. System should ascertain that data is completely fed. If there is any field which is required to be fed, system should not take it and it should generate a pop-up. For feeding of caution orders, cursor should directly go to the next field. Navigations. So anybody from COA? Should we take this as a valid suggestion? Sir? So GM COA, Achal sir?
उसमें तो tab data has been read in one. Then for jumping to the tab key has to be pressed.
Sir, break हो रही है voice.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Echo हो रहा है. But tab has to be pressed. That's all.
Okay. So this is about education, and if anybody needs a training or something, then it may be addressed. It is for attention of Senior DOM. So the next question. So these are all downtime issues. TA issues we have already discussed. Some zonal railway, this is Senior DOM TPJ. Some zonal railway format of this is already discussed. I think format is uniform. Again, AD 100% accurate.
From discussion.
Yes, I think this is all discussed. Sir, there is one different one from AMG. I don't know who is AMG here. Provision of multiple custom tags or multiple route is to be provided. This is already addressed or somebody wants to take up?
Ma'am, there may be improvement already planned for this functionality. So there will be provision will be provided to select one or more tags
Who is addressed
in one go.
AMG?
At present, user is creating multiple.
अभी audible नहीं है.
मैम अभी आ रही है आवाज?
हाँ अब आ रही है।
मैम ये टैग वाली फैसिलिटी है, इसमें वन और मोर टैग सेलेक्ट करने के लिए
Is it
यूजर
addressed or you want to Ravi just one
it
second.
is ma'am
You
it is
want to give
already
some
added
clarification or
ma'am it is already added further
fine,
movement
fine. Line number is already. Sir, this is from A1KIR. I don't know whether this is related to this synchronization of kilometer posts at zonal track interchange points in block section. This is what he has posted. Not very clear to me. Anybody wants to take up or A1KIR wants to discuss about this? Okay. Shri Avdesh Kumar, that full reasons are not showing in ICMS. Maximum characters should be added. Ravi.
question is not clear where
Question is that full reasons are not showing in ICMS.
because question order remarks and reasons captured in control office application ICMS is just reflecting the data captured in control office application.
Okay, then anybody wants to take
this is not clear to me.
Neeraj, Raju sir, any comments on this? Okay, we'll move ahead. This is also addressed. Same, I think. So there's one CPTM SCR's comment. It is understood the provision for issuing caution order through ICMS is only for scheduled trains. What about late running trains and diverted trains? Sir?
Ma'am, for diverted train facility is already there to define a route using the goods route option. Otherwise, we can select a train which is following the diverted path. So we can select that particular train number and issue the caution accordingly.
Lakshmi, we will take two more questions and then we will wind up. If the users, if the CPTMs and other participants feel that they have a very important question to bring out, I mean, they are welcome, but we have discussed most of the questions and let us now not repeating them. So, last two questions, please.
So here the repetition of questions are there. So anybody else who wants to open their mic and discuss, otherwise we can wind up, sir. The rest of the things are the requirement for guidance and everything, sir. Clear demos, presentations and training. Somebody has just posted.
Yes, sir. I have one suggestion. ADRM
This is Prabhas. Okay.
ADRM operations only. I have a suggestion. This regarding when we print the caution order. So printed part is frozen that moment. So for the balance caution order appearing thereafter, there should be a system to extract that alone, so that that can be easily repeated to the concerned station by the section controller or arrangement what we keep in the control office.
You please send the suggestion. We will look into it.
Right.
Anybody else, or should we wind up? I'll give you 1 minute time to take.
There is a cost.
Sorry, you are not audible.
There is a cost.
This is a system with Raj.
Yeah, CDM Sonpur speaking.
Hello? Yes, sir.
Sarai has like up and down. But it is repeating for all the lines. So there are repetition of 10 times. Similarly, we have some specific, like all the crossovers from particular station to particular station has to be observed. All the loop has to be observed by 15 kmph of speed restriction. तो ये भी रिपीट हो रहा है. काइंडली इसको भी
इसमें मिस्टर राज, इसमें आई थिंक व्हाट यू आर सेइंग दैट सपोज स्टेशन पे 5 लाइनें हैं और पांचों में अप एंड डाउन बोथ डायरेक्शंस में क्वेश्चन लगे हैं, तो वो 10 दिखाता है. दिस इज द क्वेश्चन एज आई अंडरस्टैंड. सो ये हाँ, तो ये इसमें इशू ये मतलब देयर इज नो इशू. इसमें ये है कि पांचों लाइनें अप, पांचों लाइनें डाउन, तो हमने 10 क्वेश्चन लगा दिए. 10 क्वेश्चन के 10 आईडीज यूनिक क्रिएट हो जाएंगे सिस्टम में, तो इसलिए वो 10 दिखेंगे. तो आप इसमें बताएं क्या चाहते हैं
सर. इसमें जैसे
राजीव, ये नहीं है CPTM ECR हियर. Rajiv, in that you have to put one single caution for all the 5 lines. वो यार्ड caution में जाएगा आपके, उसी में आपको मेंशन करना है. लाइन नंबर 5 से लेकर के 9 तक वो caution एप्लीकेबल है. अलग अलग इम्पोज नहीं करेंगे. डाटा एंट्री का प्रॉब्लम है यार, उसमें प्रॉब्लम थोड़े ना सॉफ्टवेयर में. डाटा एंट्री ठीक कीजिए आप.
क्वेश्चन को फीड करना है तो वो तो सिंगल स्ट्रोक में ही फीड हो जाएगा, आपको 10 बार फीड नहीं करना है. बट सिंस हम 5 लाइनें सिलेक्ट करेंगे तो वो 5 बार ही दिखेगा, और अप एंड डाउन करेंगे तो 10 बार दिखेगा. 10 आईडी बन जाएंगे.
इसमें तो हमारे पास कोई और आईडी है, तो अलग अलग आईडी बन रहा है सर. सर इसमें आईडी सारे अलग अलग बन रहे हैं. क्वेश्चन के जो आईडी है वो अलग अलग बनेगा, तो फालतू का वो पेज भर रहा है सर. ये इशू है.
आप राजीव अलग से डिस्कस कर लीजिए, डाटा एंट्री का प्रॉब्लम है.
Shall we close it now? I mean, take PD Coaching's permission to do that. I thank everyone to have a large number and participate and point out their issues. This presentation in clearing doubts. And in case any training is required, we have already said that regional offices will organize. And if there are any doubts, I mean, people are welcome to come to Delhi, sit down with us. We will solve their issues, problems, clear doubts. So, I mean, everything is open. And as I said previously, it's a joint effort. Let us make it a success. And I thank everyone who have come and been a part of this. And I thank PD Coaching, CEO System Sir, and all senior officers who have contributed immensely to make it a success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all of you.
So we are winding up.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.